We have reached hump day. What day is it, Mike? What day is it, Mike? Mike.
Some people don't even remember that commercial, probably.
You're probably right. And they're not a sponsor, so I'll not bring it up any further. Yeah. Welcome to the program. It is the midweek edition of Litter Media Live. I'm Dan Ramey. He's Mike Smith. Thank you for joining us. If you are watching us for the very first time, we get together. We have these little meetings every day about 11 o'clock. And that used to be our lunchtime for radio, for the lunch bus.
Pretty close, yeah.
Which, I was at the radio station all day long, and I had to move my schedule around so I could be ready when Mike was ready for lunch so we could go to the lunch bus.
And your wife came to work in town, and we didn't go to lunch anymore. You put your wife ahead of me. I was hurt by that for a while, but I got over it.
And you should be. You should be. But I didn't have to sleep on the couch, which was good.
That's probably a reason you should put her number one. Yeah.
Amen to that. Well, that's not the only reason, but, there's a lot of reasons you should put your spouse first, right?
And we won't go into any of those
just stay out of the doghouse. We've got news topics we're going to cover here shortly. We'll also have a look at sports, and this date in history takes us back to
1799.
All right, so just about 1800. Details coming up in the program. But first, look at what's going on with the weather. I didn't prepare anything for weather, did you?
I did not.
Okay, so in that case, I don't have a weather map to show you, but Mike is here with a look at our forecast.
Partly sunny today with a high of 86. Rain back in the picture for tomorrow. We had a nice shower that came up, some thunderstorms that brought out warnings for Fayette and Highland County, western Ross County yesterday, but thank the good Lord, I took a chance. When I finally got home in the afternoon, which was kind of late, I said, I might as well just mow this yard now. And I was done 15 minutes, and here came the rain.
How about that?
It worked out well.
Well, I got home, and it had just started coming down, which I just remembered I left my umbrella in the house. So I need to make sure I grab that and put it back in the car before I leave the house tomorrow. But we had 3/4 of an inch of rain at our place.
I didn't notice this when I went out to mow the yard, but our water rain gauge had fallen over. We had some mulch done in the spring, and for some reason that thing will not stick in that mulch. So I positioned it somewhere different this morning. Hopefully it'll stay. But so I don't know what it did rain-wise amount.
I have ours placed on the back deck so that I don't have to go outside to see it. I can just look out the back door.
Yeah. When I was watching the Reds, when they were still playing the first game, it was pouring down at our house, but sunshine in Cincinnati.
Yeah, and then the second game got delayed.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that in sports coming up. But first, let's tell you about some of our fine sponsors, and that includes Scioto Valley Dumpsters. 740-253-8389 is the number to call to get a dumpster. They'll bring it to your place of location, and when you're done filling it up, they'll haul it all away. You can learn more at this number, 740-253-8389 for Scioto Valley Dumpsters. News next. For transportation options in Ross County, call Ross County Health District's Mobility Management Team, 740-779-9652.
This is Andy Tomlinson. When ensuring what's important to you, our agents are there when you need us the most. Tomlinson Insurance, for the best coverage at the best cost. Visit us online at tomlinsonins.com to learn more.
So what's making news today? Well, you can always go to our website to learn more, or you can take a look at our YouTube channel and our Facebook page as well. And one of those is a conversation I had with these individuals yesterday. Visited with Carrie Steinbrook from the Cigar Band and Rick Goshorn from the Elks Lodge 2052 on West 2nd Street here in Chillicothe. They're getting ready for a big event coming up. It is Bike Night It's going to be a boogie on the blacktop. It's going to be bike night. It's all going to be together. It's going to be a fantastic time. And they tell us more about it here.
We are going to still do a donation to the Indiana Cancer Center. But the Elks has a couple other things that were actually important to my dad too, that worked again, just just worked out great. I'll let you talk about those, Ricky.
Yeah, we do in November a veterans dinner. We bust in about 260 plus veterans in. Due to COVID, we have not been able to do that for the last 3 years, however. But we bring these people in, we sit them down, we feed them, bring them table side, and then we all have stations set up in the big hall where they can do shopping. We have things like underwear and pencils and pads and different things that they may need to get them away from the VA for a little while in their sister homes. They spend a couple hours out, and then we ship them back. So it's a big production. There's a lot of people involved, and it's just a great program.
Now, she mentioned her dad Mike. We used to do a fundraiser with the cigar band and through Southern Ohio Survivors, and this is where this all started for them. And then the Elks was doing a fundraiser too, and they decided to put both of them together. And so there for a while, it was Mike Bike Night, that kind of thing. But now it's Boogie Bike Night, all at the Elks, coming up on Saturday, July 29th. There will be live music, and that includes Mike Boyle, also Higley, and Greg Higley, and 6 to noon will also be performing. So that's all coming up a week from this Saturday.
Is Ricky, by any chance, related to Jerry?
I didn't ask him.
They look and sound alike.
They do, don't they?
So I'm assuming that's got to be Jerry's relative, brother maybe, possibly.
So you have it. You can read more, learn more, look at our Facebook page and our YouTube channel.
Yeah. Here's something kind of interesting. Chillicothe Trails in the Ross County Park District present Music and Yoga in the Woods, also known as Park After Dark, on July 29th at 7 p.m. Meet at the main parking lot at Buzzard Drew's for a short 15-minute hike along the South Point Lookout Trail. The hike will end at the historic camp, where a spread of fruit, sweets, and other fresh hors d'oeuvres await. One of our friends used to say horse divorce. Treat yourself to a bright summer mocktail as you find your spot in the woods for yoga. Enjoy 60 minutes of slow flow, beginner-friendly yoga with instructor Cody Mash, as local musician Zach McFadden plays acoustic guitar in the distance.
Very nice. Zach is a good, what am I saying good? He is a spectacular guitarist.
So that sounds like something neat. You can get more information on our website, story at littermedia.com.
You've heard it, horse divorce, but the guy who was my best man at my wedding, long rest his soul, Phil Swain, used to call it horse devours.
Devours? That might be more accurate as to how it goes at some of these events. Also in the news today, the Cub Scouts, Pack 38, Uniado Cub and Boy Scouts Troop held their opening show last night at the Pump House Center for the Arts, affording the troop members an opportunity to earn their art badge. Members of the troop first visited the Pump House during a February show and expressed a desire to showcase their own masterpieces. I want to thank the folks at Pump House for sharing some of those photos with us. Speaking of art, calling all young artists, as the Mighty Children's Museum is in need of help for their upcoming fundraiser. Join up as they paint our town in watercolors and canvas on Monday. That's the 24th of this month. You can sign up on eventbrite.com.
This should be pretty cool. Plus, when they have their farm-to-table fundraiser, you get a chance to see all this artwork by these kids.
Yeah. Now, we're not suggesting that they're going to paint over the mail pouch sign. That might cause a stir, but maybe something comparable to that. Pike Heritage Museum will host Schmidt's Sausage Truck as part of their 40th anniversary celebration. I think we had a story on our website, littermedia.com, a month or so ago about this being the 40th anniversary. Well, this particular event will be coming up on August the 19th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. High school football kicks off the night before, so, you're probably looking for something to do the next day. Well, check this out down in Waverly.
I've got a place now for Dan Jr.'s birthday party.
There you go.
It is August 19th, so perhaps we can just saunter our way over to Waverly and have some sausage.
And you can tell him that this was
It's
all for
all
him.
for
Yeah.
him. Your Uncle Mike Smith set this up.
It's just coincidental that it comes. Now, Dan Jr. is he 40?
He will be 40
Oh my gosh!
on this day.
This is
So he can celebrate with the Pike Heritage Museum.
absolutely.
It's a marriage made in
This is a
heaven.
marriage made in heaven. You got to do that. Ohio Department of Natural Resources Division of Natural Areas and Preserves will be holding special deer hunts at state nature preserves. Now, 9 preserves have been identified as locations with native plant communities threatened by high deer populations. Now, among those, there's 3 in our area: Lake Catherine in Jackson County, Stages Pond in Pickaway County, and I don't know how you pronounce this. It's either Bach or Boch, B-O-C-H, Hollow in Hocking County. So check our story at littermedia.com to get more information. In collaboration with the Federal Trade Commission and law enforcement partners nationwide, the Ohio Attorney General has unveiled an initiative that expands the crackdown on illegal robocall operations. Thank you. Somebody's
Yes.
doing something.
Yes. And stop using my number to do those calls, too.
Exactly. These robocall operations are responsible for inundating consumers with billions of unwanted calls.
I had a voicemail on my cell phone the other day, and it was a number from Findlay, and it was an older lady, and she says, "Yes, I'm responding to your call, but when I picked it up, you did not answer me." And I'm like, "I didn't call you, ma'am." Yeah, so I know someone was using my number to go through their robocall things.
Yeah, and that's a
Stop
thing.
it.
That's a thing. And when AI gets kicked into high gear, I'm afraid that one of the bad sides will be more things. It'll be your voice,
You're right.
or maybe even a picture of you, and it's not you. Yeah, that's the scary thing.
Well, you mentioned that, and let's not forget, when we get done with this segment, I want to talk about that exactly.
Okay. Yes, county fair season. We've been talking about Fayette and Jackson County Fair all this week. This is what's happening today as far as the junior fair schedule, as far as livestock. Now, on the regular calendar, tonight's grandstand entertainment, can you remember what it was? It's just below.
Horse costume contest, Horse Arena is right there.
Okay, but I think there's something else. If you click off the
Oh, I see
the
what you're
banner,
saying.
yeah, I think that has some
I
other
need to
entertainment.
this would be, it's the Wiener Dog Derby
Yeah,
we were talking about.
that yesterday. So,
Yeah.
and school bus derby tomorrow, so you got to put that on your calendar.
Yes.
And I think it's going to rain tomorrow, so that might make that even a lot more fun.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the Jackson County Fair, it continues today, this being Wednesday, and the
Comedy night, Joe Deuce.
Joe Deuce at the Midway Stage, hosted by
Lori Graves.
Lori Graves from Chillicothe. So Lori's branching out into other counties now.
Look out.
They may keep her down there. I don't know. Yeah, so that's county fair season here in our area. Road report today, we stay in Jackson County, in case you're heading over that way for the fair. Work for a culvert replacement project on State Route 327 between Grimsley Poor Road and Pattonsville Road. That's taking place there. Now, 327 will be closed for this construction. During the closure, traffic will be detoured to US 35 and State Route 32, and that is going through this summer.
We were talking about robocalls a while ago, and, I do a lot of phone systems across southern Ohio for schools. I'm probably on 35 different school systems saying, "Thank you for calling Chillicothe High School," and going through. And I direct you where you need to go, which is really weird when I call a place. I'm like, I should know the call tree numbers, but I can't, so I got to sit and listen to it. Okay, press 8. But at any rate, I called someone here not long ago, and I'm not going to divulge who they were, but I called, and I was given their name, but I didn't know the person. So when they answered, I said, yes, is this so-and-so? And he's like, what do you want? And I said, well, and I'm calling a place of business. And I said, well, I'm calling. I want to make sure that you're the person I need to talk to. And he's like, you know, man, I get these calls every day.
Really?
I get about 30 of these calls every day.
Wow.
Tell me what you're trying to sell. And I said, I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm calling to connect with it. And he says, dude, you got to know that you sound like a robocall. And I'm like, I'm sorry. It's how I talk. It's who I am.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of times when I've called and people thought to do.
And hang up.
Yeah.
They just didn't have the heart to tell you, Dan. They didn't want to talk to you.
It's the plight that I have.
Oh, it's Ramey
that I have
again,
to
yeah.
carry. Yeah. Yeah.
Ramey
So-
Robo Ramey. A new nickname has been born today.
I'm calling to sell you something. I'm calling. And that's not the case. So, but in all these instances, people are calling me. Not
Right,
calling
not the other way
expecting. I
around,
mean, you
yeah.
call Paint Valley High School, you hear me, and that sort of thing. The one that really throws people is the James the Lesser Elementary School, I believe it is, in Columbus, because it's Spanish.
Oh, golly. Yeah.
And it's a Spanish-speaking school, and people were wondering, you know, how is it you can, we didn't know you were so fluent in Spanish, and I'm not. I took 2 years of Spanish in high school, but in order to do this particular project, I reached out to Vanessa George's mother, who is from Mexico,
Yeah.
and she sat across from me while I was recording this, and she says, no, say it like this, and a little more roll on your R, you know, and I'm like, oh, okay. Next thing you know, I'm Antonio Banderas. It's amazing.
Trust me, you're not.
But it sounded like it.
Yeah, I get
And so they responded back and they said, we're really impressed with your Spanish speaking skills. And I'm like, well, thank you.
So Renya then wanted a pay raise for her tutoring.
Yeah. I can't remember what I think I gave her a gift card or something like that. Maybe. I can't remember.
Yeah.
So
Collect,
anyway.
Renya, if you didn't get that in the mail.
All right, coming up, we'll take a look at sports to see how things played out last night and what's ahead for today. So that's all coming up in just a moment. First, we want to tell you about Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. I was at an event before getting here today, which is why we didn't have the weather prepared. I completely forgot because I was chasing my tail so we could get on the show here. Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing was sponsoring the FCA basketball camp that I was at out at Unioto High School. We'll have details on that for you later today in an interview that we did with Brian Grigsby, and we'll probably have that on the show for you tomorrow also. Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. They do more than that. They're involved in our community. So if you want to find out more about them, click on this ad anywhere you see it at littermedia.com to learn more about the services of your trusted comfort advisor, Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Sports next.
Budweiser beer, the king is second to none.
Who drinks Budweiser? You know the type. The people who grind. Those who don't back down. And the ones who don't quit. They say all people are 6 degrees of separation away from each other. But some are just a six-pack away. The people who share the same spirit, share the same beer. This Bud's for you.
It's time to get serious about your lawn. It's time to step up to the best mower brand money can buy. For nearly 4 decades, Skag has been the easy choice for lawn care professionals. Don't settle for anything less than simply the best when it comes to mowing your lawn. There's sure to be a Skag model that's perfect for your yard, big or small. Make your lawn the envy of the neighborhood. Visit your local Skag dealer today. Skag, simply the best.
Time to talk sports now. And what do we have first?
Well, you said you might have a poster of something you
yes.
stopped in on this morning.
The FCA basketball camp. The boys are playing from 9 until noon, and then the girls from 1 until 3, I think it is, 4. It probably says on the poster here. But that's going on today, tomorrow, and Friday. And Brian Grigsby tells me that they will take walk-ups. So if you have a child who's entering the 4th, 5th, or 6th grade and you want to give them some basketball skill opportunities, visit with the camp coach, which is Eric Huffer. 10 years as Chillicothe Cavalier basketball coach. I saw his 3 boys coming in. It was pretty awesome.
And this is at Uniota?
At Uniota High School. Okay. And also there were members of the Taze Valley FCA who are helping out as well with the coaching side of things. So I got a chance to say, hey, way to go, Taze Valley. And also there, Brian Grigsby, the Scioto Valley FCA coordinator, and Matt Combs, perfect match since it's at Uniota High School, and this guy who won a state championship at some point in time,
My neighbor.
they call him Lee Snyder.
Yeah.
He was there, and a couple of other coaches helping out as well. So we appreciate them doing this for kids to get them up and running with the basketball skills, but also they're giving them some devotion time too, so a chance to learn a little bit more about how they need to have a relationship with the Lord. And there it is, 9 to noon for the boys, 1 to 4 for the girls. It was kind of tough to read on that green from a distance where we're looking at here.
Mister, you're not colorblind like I am, but it is kind of hard to see that.
Yes.
Other sports locally, Chillicothe Post 757 edged Waverly in the loser bracket final at VA Memorial Stadium yesterday in a slugfest, 11-10. Chillicothe scoring in the 7th inning to win the game. So now Chillicothe advances to play Yeager Benson at 11 a.m., so that's being played right now. If Yeager Benson wins, they take the Region 5 title and head to the state tournament. If Chillicothe wins, then they will play again at 3 o'clock this afternoon for the winner take all final.
So basically, Chillicothe's playing Yeager 3 times if they get to that point.
Right, because they lost 2-1 in the earlier round.
Yeah.
Now, staying with the Legion baseball, Lancaster Post 11 lost to Pickerington 4-3 yesterday. In that scenario, if you were with us the last couple of days, Lancaster only needed 1 win against Pickerington. Pick beat him yesterday, or actually 2 days ago, and yesterday, and took the championship. So Pickerington will move on to the state tournament, which is being played at Lancaster starting next week. Chillicothe Paints, Arturo Disla, is that how you pronounce it? Disla had his league-leading 10th home run of the season, and Cameron Bowen hit his second as the Paints hammered the Corn Belters of Normal 16-3 last night. That series wrap-up is in Normal tonight.
Arturo's a beast. I mean, he's just
a monster.
He's a big kid, and man, when he swats that baseball, look out.
Yeah.
It's like in the old Bugs Bunny cartoon where you see the baseball screaming.
Yeah, and after that wrap-up game tonight, the Paints come back home to start a series that I believe starts tomorrow.
5-game homestand.
Yeah. It goes all the way through the weekend. I wish the news was as good for the Reds, but it's not. In the completion of that suspended game yesterday, Reds had an opportunity to win it. I referred to him as the freak, Ellie De La Cruz, stole second, nobody out, but he got picked off. And then the Giants end up scoring twice in the 10th and hold on for a 4-2 win. And then in the nightcap, a slugfest. The Reds kept coming back, but ended up losing to the Giants 11-10. Cincinnati now has lost, six straight?
Yeah.
But there was
still 2 games back.
Yeah, there was a highlight in the game for the Reds last night. Joey Votto hitting his career home run number 350.
Did you stick around for the post game to
I
hear
did
him
not.
respond to this? Jim Day asked him when you came up on home plate. He jumped in the air and stomped on home plate. And he says, was that as to show 350? You made that mark? And he says, no, it's just the last home run that I hit. I wasn't so sure I touched home plate.
That's correct.
So I wanted to make sure I hit it that time.
Yeah.
But, you know, he took it like a veteran. He said, here's the deal. You know, we lost a game, and we lost 2 games today, and that makes it tough.
Right.
And so, but they're still in the hunt of all this because they've got they trail the Brewers by only 2 games in the NL Central.
Joey's in some rare air. He's only the 16th player in Major League Baseball history to hit 350 home runs, have at least 2,000 hits, and there was another category. So, Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer for sure.
And he's second all time for the Reds now in home runs behind Johnny Bench.
Right. Now, the Reds and the Giants will play again tonight, and then their series wrap-up is tomorrow afternoon in Cincinnati. The Pirates have really been taking it on the chin with the Guardians. What was it, 11-0 the day before? Last night, 10-1 as Cleveland on a roll against the lowly Pirates right now.
I think they're 11 games out after leading the division for a while earlier this year.
Yeah, they really fell on hard times. And this is something about falling on somebody. The Paint Valley Westfall Alumni Football Game 3.0 is coming September the 16th. Now, the series is tied 1-1. It's been played over more years than that, but because COVID, they couldn't play it for a couple of years. But this was one of the great rivals over a 15-year span in the 1990s. These 2 teams were the SVC champ. I think it went like 12 out of the 15-year span.
Sounds right.
Referred to it as the 15-year war. But look at there. Players won at ages 18 through 65.
You still got a shot, Mike.
Yeah. Sean, well, I wasn't an alumnus, but I talked to Sean Kaywood at lunch here a couple of weeks. I said, are you thinking about playing that? And he said, yeah, I'm thinking about it. I said, brother, you might want to think a lot harder. You don't want to get hurt. But anyway.
Just doesn't have the quicks he used to have.
Yeah,
So
if you want to do this thing out there, go to alumnigameusa.com to sign up. But you got to be out of high school.
Gotcha.
You can't be a current high school player.
Precisely. Now, also the Chillicothe Football Alumni Dinner, and this includes the cheerleaders too, because we came to learn that some of the cheerleaders and football players are married.
Oh,
how about that?
That works out.
So August 5th at the Chillicothe Country Club. Social time starts at 5. The program itself begins at 6. Dinner at $15. This is going to be a lot of fun. Last year was the first time we did something like this, and so I'll be your MC for the event again this year. There are tables packed with decades of players. So you got like the 70s, they'll get to go over on that table. 60s will be over here. We had players back to the 1950s there. Coaches stretching all the way back as well. So we're hoping to have yet even more people there this time around because of the popularity of last year. So many folks said, man, I wish I would have known about it. I'd have been there. Well, we're telling you about it now so that you can be there. The Cavaliers will scrimmage with Portsmouth West in the morning, and then the field house is going to be open so people can walk through the field house, take a look at the renovations that have been made, and then the dinner itself. There's going to be a Woody Hayes impersonator there for this event, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you're there. Plus, you get a chance to see people maybe you've not seen for a long time.
This might also be a good test to see how the Cavs will look, because West has been pretty tough over the last couple of years, so we'll see how that works out.
And you get a chance to meet the seniors on the football team this year, too, because Coach Bartholomew made them introduce themselves last year, so they have to do that again this year. That's part of being a senior and leadership and getting up there. And I remember Trey King last year, and he said, you got to refer to yourself as stud. And and Trey is very humble, you know, and he says, I'm stud.
Yeah, very modest about his studliness, yeah.
Some people aren't.
All right, just come on out and say it. Just come out and say it.
Yeah, I wasn't going to point fingers at anybody in particular. So
I only do that around my wife, you know. Hey, honey.
one of our sponsors is McDonald's, and today is Wednesday. And every Wednesday at their locations in Chillicothe, there are 4 of them. Also in Circleville, in Waverly, and Greenfield, they have open interview time. So the manager sits down across the table from you. You get a chance to sell yourself to them and tell them why you would be a good candidate to be part of the McDonald's crew. And they'll say, okay, sounds good.
You're in.
Can you start now? You know, that kind of thing. You never know. It may be as quickly as, I'm glad you're here. Come on, let's go back and I'll show you how to flip those burgers.
Yeah.
Or mop the floors or whatever the case may be. McDonald's is a very huge sponsor for us. They were our first sponsor, but they're also big in our community as well, especially with the youth. And do you realize they employ, I think, more than 700 people?
That's amazing. It really is.
That you talk about. And what is a small business employer employs, what, 500 or less?
Generally, yeah.
And so here you're looking at, this is a huge industry here in the Chillicothe area. So we thank you, McDonald's, for your sponsorship. And for people who want to get food, stop in and say McDonald's.
I'm loving it.
You got to say it like Mike does, though.
Yeah.
All right, coming up, this date in history, the Litter Media Wayback Machine is going to 1799.
We're going to party like it's 1799.
Mike was just a little spark at one point in time in 1799.
Find a career you love with Pickaway Ross Adult Education. Skilled trades careers are in high demand with no signs of slowing down. Pickaway Ross offers career training programs with expert instructors and hands-on learning tactics to create a variety of opportunities. Visit our website for more information.
At Rathkamp Financial, we provide wealth management services that may ease clients' fears of financial loss and help them retire comfortably. Our greatest satisfaction comes from working with clients for many years and helping them realize their dreams.
You haven't had vodka soda like this. No one has. Made with the world's smoothest vodka plus real juice. New White Claw Vodka Soda.
This date, July 19th of 1799.
We think.
Why do you say we think?
Well, you'll find out here in a minute.
Okay.
Although there is some debate about the exact date on what was likely July 19th of 1799, during Napoleon Bonaparte's Egyptian campaign, a French soldier discovers a black basalt slab inscribed with ancient writing near the town of Rosetta, 35 miles east of Alexandria. The irregularly shaped stone contained fragments of passages written in 3 different scripts: Greek, Egyptian hieroglyphics, and Egyptian, I believe it's Demetic. The ancient Greek on the Rosetta Stone told archaeologists that it was inscribed by priests honoring the king of Egypt in the 2nd century BC. And more startlingly, the Greek passage announced that the 3 scripts were all of identical meaning. What's the significance of this? Well, the artifact thus held the key to solving the riddle of hieroglyphics, because nobody could read them before that. So a written language that had been dead for nearly 2,000 years comes to life thanks to the finding of the Rosetta Stone on this date in 1799.
And then later there would be this wonderful program where you learn how to speak other languages.
Right, called Rosetta Stone.
Rosetta Stone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about that?
Haven't done that, though. There was I can't remember who we did the interview with. Well, I did the interview with, but they were providing us with an opportunity to speak other languages. And it was not Rosetta Stone. It was another program. And the one they sent, I thought, I'll never use. It was Portuguese.
Oh, you could have used that Spanish for your commercial or whatever.
But it's different. See, Portuguese is different than Spanish.
That's correct.
And when you go to, I thought, how often do you go to Portugal? Not often. But it is Brazil
that speaks Portuguese.
Portuguese is their official language, which I always thought it was Spanish.
Yeah.
Not the case.
If you've ever seen the movie of The Courtship of Eddie's Father, you would have known that.
Yeah.
Because the housekeeper that took care of Glenn Ford and
Brazilian?
Opie, no, she was going there.
Okay.
And she thought she'd been learning how to speak Spanish. And then at the end of the movie, she says, and I just found out they don't even speak Spanish. It's Portuguese. So
I have seen the movie. It's been a long time since I've seen the movie. Bill Bixby, was he in the movie or the
he
TV
was in
show?
the TV. This was Glenn Ford. Shirley
Ford
Jones was the neighbor next door that he was kind of stuck on, but
Opie was the little boy.
At the
time.
Jerry Van Dyke was hilarious. I think Glenn actually was a radio manager.
Is that right?
Jerry Van Dyke was this out of control disc jockey that was always trying to lure women to calling in or coming into the studio while he was on the air. You and I never did that. That can't be a radio memory for us because we didn't try that. Although when I first started out in radio, I didn't know this was going to become the radio moment. My first radio gig was in Waverly.
Mm-hmm.
And being the nighttime disc jockey, you get these phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
But they're from like teenage girls. Now, I was not married at the time, but I was engaged. And I will never forget one time my current wife, I think she's current, she called, and I always had to finish my shift by playing My Sharona because that was her favorite song. But I was on the phone with this other girl talking to her, and she says, well, why didn't you answer the phone? And I said,
I was talking to somebody else.
I was talking to some other girl. Well, that didn't go over very well. So I had to explain myself that she called to request a song, and you try to be nice. You don't want to just, okay, I'll get to it. That's the memory I couldn't come up with the other day. Not this, but this. When we were working together at Chillicothe, I was the ops manager. So more times than not, I think every night but one, the call forwarding when we were unattended at night was sent to me. Mm-hmm. So I get these, whenever the station went off the air, I got the call. If the Reds didn't rejoin right, I got the call.
One of the good things about me living in Pike County and having dial-up internet.
Yeah, really.
At the time.
But also, I got the calls from people who at 2 a.m. want to request songs to the country radio station, not realizing it's automated. Nobody's going to be able to play this. The mistake that I made on one given evening, it was 2:30 in the morning. My wife says, who in the world is calling you at 2:30? And I said, honey, what time do the bars close? Oh, okay. Well, the guy said, I'm having trouble with my girlfriend, and I just think if you guys could play this certain song, everything would be fine.
I need to know something real quick.
Yeah.
How do you and Laura know when the bars close?
Well, that's common knowledge. It's
Is
2
it?
a.m.
Is it?
It's always been 2 a.m., and I never hung out at the bars at 2 a.m. So I made the mistake of saying, even though, I know that it's automated, he doesn't know it, but I said, okay, I'll get to it. That was my mistake. Because the song played, and he calls me back at 3:30 to thank me. So if I hadn't said anything, you probably wouldn't have called me back.
Now, let's go back to the beginning of what you started talking about there. I had my first gig at Waverly also. Mm-hmm. And there was a person who used to call the studio, and then I started dating that person, and she became Mrs. Ramey.
So it does work out that way sometimes.
Missy was one of those people who called the radio station.
How about that? And she was a teenager at the time. And
she was.
And you were.
And I was as well.
You were 30 years old?
No, my first night on the air, I was 18. It was my 18th birthday. Ooh. And then we started dating, and next thing you know, here we are.
So you must have played the right song. You must have played the right song, yeah.
Bay City Rollers, Saturday night.
Saturday night. Wow. Boy, does that bring back memories. So every time My Sharona comes on, my wife says, remember that song?
However, the one he always asked me to play for their anniversary was Orleans Still the One.
Right.
Because that was your dedication to your wife.
That's correct. Yes. Yeah. Everybody's saying My Sharona. Who sang that?
The Knack.
The Knack. I think they had two. They were kind of like a one-hit wonder. That was their biggest hit. They had another song that I can't even remember the name of.
I was thinking of some other songs earlier today that were like one-hit wonders, and then for whatever reason, this I can't remember if it's the name of the song or the group, and the name of the song or the group. A Taste of Honey, Sukiyaki. Mm-hmm. Was Sukiyaki the song title? Or was A Taste of Honey the song title?
Well, you got me on that one. I remember those names, but I can't remember.
I was listening to Round Town Radio online this morning, and for whatever reason, that song popped in my head, and I thought, oh, wait a second, was it Sukiyaki, the group, or A Taste of Honey, the group? And the song was Sukiyaki, or was it A Taste of Honey?
Yeah.
I can't remember. And I didn't take time to Google it to find out.
Now, when the group Wham came out, did they not also have a song called Wham? And I don't think that was, if that's true, I don't think that was unique, because I think there was a couple of others, individuals or groups that came out with a song the same name as the group, just to kind of, it's kind of like iHeart Clear Channel changing the app, the company's name to that way. When we were talking with our guest here, the new head of the ER at Adena, he thought iHeart was only an app. He didn't know it was the name of a radio company.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. He said, I just thought that was some little app. And I said, yeah, well, it's an app, but it's a big company too. So.
And tip the cap to them. That was branding, and it is placed in your head. And one thing that when I left the radio stations 6 years ago, this coming September, it'll be 6 years. Hard to believe that time has flown like that. One of the greatest reliefs I had was not having to talk about the iHeartRadio Music Festival because you had to say it 15 times an hour.
Yeah.
And it became vernacular that you were like sitting around the table at dinner and you're saying iHeartRadio Music Festival. It's like, honey, this is not the iHeartRadio Music Festival plate. And I'm like, I know, but it just comes out. I'm sorry.
But you talk about that branding, even Litter Media, when we have talked with people and they're thinking, what's a media company got to do with Litter Gas? Because they're thinking Litter Propane has become such an iconic name in this part of the state that's all people know about, and they don't know there's a Litter Media too.
Which is what you see that buffalo you're looking at right there. That's why there's flames right there. That's to go with the propane flames. And when we drive the Litter Media van, the Litter Propane van to football games. By the way, that is being rewrapped because there was an incident during one of the storms this past spring in which one of our neighbors, one of their carports came flying over, and it caught part of the van. Well, they had to fix the van, finally got the van back. The van has been with the company who's rewrapping it. And so I have yet to see what it's going to look like.
We don't know if it's going to be on fire or not.
Well, we don't know if it's going to look the same. Yeah. I have not seen any of the drawings or anything like that, or if they're just going to replace just some of the parts that were missing. It did look kind of funny because when the body shop put the new fender on, well, it was a white fender with the rest of the flame color and everything on there. So
they burn it right off there.
I do remember pulling up to a drive-through window, and the guy is taking my money, and he's got his head stuck out the window. And he's like, "Your van's on fire." I said, "Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Yeah." That's it.
It's the world's hottest. What was it? The world's hottest propane company on the planet, I believe, is what some of the branding said on the van. So when you see us,
you guys are hot, baby.
when we come up to a ball game this year, it will be, we're rolling in hot. So.
Rolling in hot.
All right, that's it for the show today. Do we have anything special tomorrow?
No, not the rest of this week.
Okay, so just a regular show at 11 o'clock tomorrow. I do have an assignment, which we just learned about a moment ago, so I'll probably have something on that for you tomorrow, as well as an assignment that I was at before coming here today. Mm-hmm. So before we wrap up, I want to take a moment. He's being remembered right now, and I wish I could have gotten to the funeral, but our friend Dick Kuchbach passed away. Dick, his wife Clara, was a salesperson for the old B94 and WFCB for a number of years. She and I were co-workers together, and Dick went on. He had Chillicothe Fire and Security, was the business here in town. His daughter Angie and son-in-law Larry own it now. And but Dick was a fun guy to hang around. I mean, he just was. If you were around him, you were laughing. That's all there was to it. But Navy veteran and good businessman here in our community, and our thoughts are with the family as they lay him to rest today. So thank you for your service to our community and for the country, being in the Navy as well. That's a look at the program today. Back at it again tomorrow, here with another edition of Litter Media Live. Until then, I'm Dan Ramey. He's the Micon, Mike Smith. We'll see you tomorrow.